Yo, what's up, guys? DfsDudes here to give you my GPP Core Plays for Tuesday, November the 6th. Before we get into it, please, if you've not done so already, click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our NFL, NBA, and MLB content that we produce for this channel. And if you haven't visited the website yet, please do that, www.dfscheatsheet.com. We have all the tools you need to be competitive with the pros on a daily basis: articles, news, player rankings, player pool. We've got a chat that is a member-only chat where our members interact with each other. We hop in the chat, answer questions. We've got private Facebook pages you can have access to as well. And then we have the optimizer. The optimizer has been on absolute fire since its inception. You can generate as many as 150 lineups. We have a mass edit feature where you can dummy save your entries on FanDuel or DraftKings. Come over to our website, hop in the optimizer, generate 150 lineups, and then you can edit those and export them back out. You can also bulk save your entries if you want to start on our website on the optimizer, and then bulk save those, and then export the CSV file directly into FanDuel. We're adding features to it every single day. We just popped up player cards on the website where you are in the optimizer. Player card pops up, all of the news, the games they play, the points, what their averages are, salary, etc. You can get more in-depth news on the player. View their game log, view their summary, etc. This is a feature that we've just popped up. We'll continue to fine tune this thing and make sure that it's the absolute best tool out and around. You can take a look at the game preview page. We have all of the information as far as road team, home team, Vegas lines, over, under. It's not this slow. It's just a little slow with me streaming a video right now. But you can get, obviously the game preview has the Vegas lines, the over, under, the implied totals for both teams, full news. All the news going on. It's very important with NBA that you get news and it's up-to-date news. So every feature you need to compete with the pros we've got on our site, and we'll continue to improve the optimizer. We'll continue to improve its functionality and the features as we go and our members make more recommendations to us. So we'll give away a free VIP membership today. If this video gets 25 likes, that VIP membership is $59.99 a month. We'll give away 1 month for free. You have full access to the optimizer, to all of the articles, to all of the content on our site, like we mentioned before, player rankings, player pool, etc. So make sure, if you haven't visited us yet, give us a visit, dfscheatsheet.com. Check us out. So let's get into the core for tonight. First place I'm going to start is Dennis Smith Jr. Really like him tonight. One of the things that I like to take a look at when I'm building a core and I'm looking at players that I want to get exposure to on the slate, I like to look at their previous history versus a team. 2 games last year, Dennis Smith has 44.6 and 35.6 fantasy points against Washington and John Wall. In those 2 games, 45.6 fantasy points, or 44.6 fantasy points, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. The other game, that was the home game, 35.6 fantasy points. He drops 17 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, fills out a block and a steal. So he's been very productive in his limited history against Washington, but he's definitely hit value. I definitely think tonight is a time he can hit value. Just taking a little bit of a look at his player card, I know his previous 2 games have not been stellar outings for him, but I look for him to get back on track in a matchup. Players know who they ball against. Players know who they don't ball against, and players get up when they, when they see a get right spot. Players aren't, they're not stupid, right? They know, hey, I played really good against this team. I can't wait to play this team. So he only plays 23 minutes against the Lakers, 10.7 fantasy points, really a dud. And then against the Knicks, he plays 31 minutes, scores 23 points, but doesn't have any other stats, and turned the ball over 6 times. This is a get-right spot for me. I really think this is a get-right spot for Dennis Smith Jr. On a 4-game slate. I like him. I think there'll be more attention on the John Walls and Kemba Walkers. They're good plays as well. But for a core piece, to me, you can play him as your point guard number 2 as well. At 6,500, Dennis Smith Jr. is where we're going to go with that. Piece number 2, a guy I think is going to be a really popular play tonight, and that's Kevin Hunter. He plays for Atlanta. A lot of people don't know who he is. I'm sorry, it's Kevin Huerter. That's how you pronounce his name, Kevin Huerter. So Kevin Huerter, $3,600 player. We'll plug him in here at the shooting guard position. There's Kevin. So $3,600. A quick look at Huerter. He did have a pretty decent game here when Tayshaun Prince suffered his injury. So the news is obviously that Prince is not playing tonight. He plays 29 minutes at a $3,500 value, 11-3 against Miami, 19.7 fantasy points. The news around this matchup is that their coach wants to get him more minutes. And this was prior to, this is prior to injury news. This is prior to everything else that had already come out. So, when Prince gets ruled out, on top of the fact that they want to get Herter more minutes, now there's a spot where there's more minutes opened up. I look for him to play at least 25 minutes tonight, and at $3,600, he becomes an elite value play. I know last night on the video I mentioned Vince Carter. I was dead serious about looking for a value spot in this game. It just so happens the way news breaks and the information we have, it looks like Herter is going to be the guy who fills this spot. So he's the guy that I'm going to plug in at $3,600. At our shooting guard spot, we'll move over to small forward. There's only one spot for me that I want to get as much exposure to as possible. I may have 150 lineups out of 150 with Giannis tonight. You take a look at Giannis. He's had a very good success against Portland. This is one of the things I mentioned at the beginning of the video. I like to take a look back at their previous success. 2 games last year, 69.6 and 56.3 fantasy points. He played 39 minutes and played 37 minutes in each of those, filling out the stat sheet in both. 3 blocks in one game, 2 in another, 3 steals in one game, 2 in another, 44 real life points in one of those games. Both games he approaches the 9 rebound mark. We know what he's been doing so far this season. The price tag is hefty at 12.8, but there is value in spots, especially with this Charlotte-Atlanta game. Such a huge spread and the blowout capability there. There's guys that you can find value, guys who may get additional minutes tonight simply because of the blowout possibilities. And then, you've got the Brooklyn and Phoenix game as well, where there's some value in that. So Giannis is a guy that I'm looking to be a staple in the majority of my lineups tonight. 12-8, it's the one guy that I want to pay up for. It's the one guy I think can get me 70, 75 fantasy points a night in a game that features Portland and Milwaukee. So we'll move on to the next spot, the power forward position. I'm going to go here and I'm going to punt this away. I really think that Herter's the guy who's going to get me the solid floor at this value play. I'm playing him as a value play, not as a pump play at 3,600 in the core. The power forward position, I'm going to go to the same Atlanta game, and I'm going to play Omari Spellman. Spellman, a lot of people don't know who these Atlanta players are, but, I always look at it like this. The over-under in this game is 231. The spread is 11. They are 11-point underdogs. There's going to be 231 points scored in this game. Let's say that it plays out the way it's supposed to, 231 points. So the implied totals, 110 is their implied total. 121 is the implied total for Charlotte. So there's still going to be 110 points scored in this game on the Atlanta side. Somebody has to score them. Trae Young is not going to score 110 points tonight. So where are you going to find pieces that will be lower owned in tournaments? Well, I think this is another spot, Omari Spellman. You just look at his last 4 games, 23 minutes, 20 minutes, 21 minutes, and 20 minutes, all at this $3,700 price tag. In those games, 21.2 fantasy points, 19.3 fantasy points, and then he does have 2 dud games at 11.9 and 8.8 where he doesn't reach any value at all. But he does show us the ability that he can reach value. On a 4-game slate, there's limited opportunities to punt. I'm going to punt with Spellman at 3,700 in my power forward position and hope he gets me a 6 or 7x. If he gets me a 22, 23, 24, 25 fantasy point night because the game blows out, he sees extended run, this is a spot that could really take your lineup over the top, right? So I'm playing Herter as a true value play. I'm going to punt with Spellman at 3,700 and look to increase the opportunity I have to pay up in a couple other spots. That'll take me to the center position. The center position, very easy for me tonight. You can really just rotate picks here because, DeAndre Jordan is in a really good spot. DeAndre Ayton has been on absolute fire. Nurkic has good game history. Dwight Howard, I know the price tag is low at 6,800. Just not enough for me right now to really want to play him. I will have some exposure, but I'm going to load Ayton into my core here. DeAndre Ayton has been really good this season. And I want to say DeAndre Ayton's been really good this season under the radar. But if you take a look, he's played 9 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the guy's gotten 45 fantasy points. So 5 out of 9 times, and we mentioned this on the video last night, 5 out of 9 times he's gotten at least 45 fantasy points. Denver game against Jokic, a dud, 14.1. San Antonio, LaMarcus Aldridge and company, 19.6. Those are the 2 duds he has. Other than that, he's gotten you 45 fantasy points 5 of 9 times with 2 duds. That leaves 2 other games to talk about. So against Pau Gasol in Memphis, 37.6. That's under the 45 mark. And against Steven Adams, who we know is an absolute beast, he gets 33.7. DeAndre Ayton is a solid play tonight on a 4-game slate. I look for him to probably be fairly popular because of his recent history. I'm high on him. He'll be in a ton of my lineups tonight. He'll be the next piece that I plug into my core here. So this is the 5 guys that we're going to fill out this core with. It's going to leave you with $6,200 basically left to fill it out. Like I said, there's some other spots. I definitely want exposure to Devin Booker. I'll have a lot of exposure to him. In small forward position, you can look to do a couple of things. There's some good value plays that I'll mention on this video. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist has played solid minutes in his last 3 games. So you can take a look at him, especially with the blowout possibility there. He could see some extended run. DeAndre Bembry with Atlanta as well is another guy that you could take a look at. Talking about Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, if you want to talk about his recent history, he's kind of been all over the place as far as his season goes. He's had 2 games where he's played 16 minutes. He's had another couple of games where he's played 18 and 19. But other than that, he's stayed pretty steady between 23 and 28 minutes. And if you just take a look at his recent last 5 games, 20.8, 21.8, 25.1, 15.7, and then a 32.1. The first 2 games of the season, I should say 2 of the first 3 games this season, he scores over 30 fantasy points with 35.3 and 31.6. Gilchrist at $4,100 is another really good play you can plug into the small forward spot as well. And then look to pay a power forward tonight is a place that doesn't have a lot of it doesn't have any high-priced players in it. When we take a look at that, Ilyasova at $5,500, the highest price guy there. Amino, I think, is going to be really popular. I didn't mention this on the shoot-around video, but I don't think this is a spot. I will obviously have some exposure to him, but I don't think this is a spot where I'm going to look to play Amino tonight. And he's one of my favorite plays on a full slate, and if the matchup is right. But he has the worst matchup of power forwards tonight as far as DVP goes. And then if you just take a look at his recent history against Milwaukee in 2 games last year, 22 minutes, 9 fantasy points, 26 minutes, 18.2 fantasy points. And if you take a look at the current season, he's playing somewhere around that 29 to 32 minute mark. And he's only really had, and that's why I say he's a spot play for me. He's one of my favorite plays when the price is right and the spot is right. Against Minnesota, 15.2. The Lakers, they're giving it up to bigs all over the place. In 2 games against the Lakers, he got a combined 48.8 fantasy points, so he averaged 24 against them, with one of them being a 34.6 game. New Orleans, they're not known for defending bigs very well either, and he's kind of a hybrid bigs. He had 32. But, in games, you take a look at games like a Miami with a Hassan Whiteside, a Kelly Olynyk, those Bam going on. He only gets 10.4. The Houston game, a Clint Capella, PJ Tucker, nuisance guys. He doesn't do well in those spots. Tonight, you got Giannis and Nurkic. Both have had good matchups against each other, and Amino's probably a guy I'm going to look to fade tonight for the most part, because I think that Giannis and Nurkic suck up so much of the paint in this game that it won't leave a spot for Amino to really have that double-double game that he has. And when you watch Amino play, he's a perimeter pick and roll guy, and then he'll slide over to the wing behind the 3-point line, look to get a kick out from Dame, and then knock down a 3, or look to dive on a rebound and get a putback. So I think in this game it doesn't fit what Amino wants to do. I could be dead wrong. That's just kind of my take on it. It's a guy that I'll probably fade tonight. So that's the core. Herder, Dennis Smith Jr., Giannis Antetokounmpo, Omari Spellman, and DeAndre Ayton. That's where we're at with that. I'll be back tomorrow. Get this video to 25 likes. We'll give away the $59.99 VIP membership. All you have to do, simply click the subscribe button, click the like button, and then put your name in the comment box below. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.